Hey everybody, Chris here. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin Spot ETFs and were they a mistake? Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification bell. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. So check your clocks, see where you are in relation to that, and come join us as we talk about crypto, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, a lot of other coins as well. Whatever's on your mind, we'll be talking about it. So, Bitcoin, what is going on? Everybody was all hyped up, right? It's Bitcoin Spot ETFs, trillions of dollars coming into the crypto market, but so far, not really the case. What is going on there? So, let's go ahead and let's take a closer look at what I think could be coming forward for Bitcoin in the not too distant future. So now we have these Bitcoin Spot ETFs approved, and many are saying this is a watershed time for the crypto market because there's going to be all of these other investors coming into crypto, coming into Bitcoin, who previously weren't interested in all that about like signing up for an exchange, buying crypto, saving it on a hardware wallet. They didn't want to mess with that, right? They were just calling up their broker and saying, hey, buy me this many stocks of this or whatever. Now they can do that for Bitcoin with these ETFs. So we're sitting here saying this is a great moment for crypto because of all of this institutional investment that can come in. But at the same time, is this really what Satoshi envisioned when he invented Bitcoin? The white paper doesn't talk about this, and it kind of goes against that initial idea of cryptocurrency being outside of this traditional banking system. So in the short term, are these spot ETFs a mistake? Well, you look at the price of Bitcoin and it is kind of drifting downwards, and you're like, well, so far, yeah, it might be a bit of a mistake. The SEC's approval of a Bitcoin crypto ETF is an historic mistake that will harm investors, markets, and financial stability, according to Better Markets. They're just looking at this, flagrantly lawless crypto industry crashing and burning. So there's a lot of negative things being written about cryptocurrency. This gives many an opportunity to again bash crypto. Those that are supported by the banks want crypto to die. So you see a lot of these kind of articles basically saying Bitcoin and crypto still have no legitimate use, even though we see it all building with blockchain technology and how this can truly be the future, particularly with non-fungible tokens, the tokenization, the blockchain of real-world assets. All that is growing now, but you still have all of these things being said because of the banks, right? So ETFs, they make Bitcoin's problem even worse. Wall Street Journal says Bitcoin ETFs likely to exacerbate its bad performance in crises by bringing in even more speculators to what's already mostly a speculative asset. So more and more, there's these kinds of articles being written against Bitcoin, against ETFs, and we see that selling pressure down. Vanguard is saying we don't want anything to do with these Bitcoin spot ETFs. You can't trade them on our platforms, and we're seeing some other platforms as well saying the same thing. And so what are people doing? People that have their money in these platforms that believe in Bitcoin, they're taking their money out. It's like, I'm not going to trade with Vanguard. I'm going to go somewhere else. So there's a lot of money that's being moved coming out of places like Vanguard into Fidelity, BlackRock, and others that are supporting the Bitcoin ETFs. Then we have JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon says he won't talk about Bitcoin anymore after trashing it one last time. And so this just happened, and it's like, well, he can say that, but the surprising thing is that JP Morgan is intimately involved with the new Bitcoin fund. JP Morgan is one of 2 authorized participants for BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, meaning it facilitates capital flows in and out of the fund. So JP Morgan is making money in the backside on these spot ETFs, but yet Jamie Dimon is trashing Bitcoin on the front. All of that is just, this just becomes this time where you've got big institutions wanting to make money because they can make money off this stuff, right? The trading of assets, that's how they make money. So the more trading that goes on, the more money they make. And so what do we see so far with this trading of the Bitcoin spot ETFs? Well, Eric Balkanis gives us this nice chart here that shows that there's a lot of money coming into this ETF market. $710 million for iShares, Fidelity, $524 million, Bitwise, $305 million, ARK, $227 million. But at the same time, Grayscale is minus 1.1 billion. That's right. So there's a negative 1 billion coming out of Grayscale because that was a converted fund. And as we showed last week, the fee percentage on their ETF is 1.5%. And on these others, they're like 0.2, and some for like the first 6 months are 0% starting. That's why you see a lot of these assets. So, but overall, the total is a net sum up $780 million so far after 3 days coming into the spot ETFs in total. So that is new money coming in. Now, that's not as much as people have been saying, but that is just the start, though. This is the start. And so what we have with all of this coming out of Grayscale, what Grayscale is doing is, well, they're selling, right? They're selling Bitcoin. Bitcoin is being moved from Grayscale to exchanges, and it is selling. So BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is raking in flows. They're getting the most in. GBTC continues to bleed assets. So they are moving Bitcoin that they have already had. They're moving it to exchanges and they're selling it. The inflows that we have here are mostly all OTC or over the counter. It's not spot trading. So all of the Bitcoin that's coming into BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, and ARK, they're buying it OTC because they have to have Bitcoin, as the backstop, right, for the ETFs that are being purchased. So that's essentially $782 million in Bitcoin as a start by these companies that they bought Bitcoin. But Grayscale's, that's the outflow, and the Grayscale, the part of that isn't coming into these others is being sold on spot. So there's selling pressure right now with Bitcoin that's going on. So what does this lead to? Well, there's no denying GBTC gouge. Big and ugly, definitely going to need stitches. Bottom chart going to be red for a while. Good news is that the percent discount is shrinking. The closer the 2 lines at the top get to each other, the less pressure inside the ETF of people wanting to get out. So he sees that this is kind of an immediate knee-jerk reaction, particularly to those that have owned Grayscale for some period of time and weren't able to get out before because of limitations that they had on that trading of what that trust was before. But now it's a spot ETF and people can withdraw. So we see a lot of that happening. A lot of people talk about, well, when gold had its spot ETF created, that it went on a big run. Could Bitcoin do that after its first ETF approval? And how much could Bitcoin be worth if it mirrors gold's ETF rally? So when the gold ETF first got approved back here in 2004, Well, it was choppy for a bit afterwards, and actually there was some downward action in the price of gold that happened at that time before gold went on this 346% run. It's now higher than that, but that was that initial kind of run that happened. Now, this was over a number of years that this happened. Gold trades much more slowly and moves much more slowly than Bitcoin has shown in its past. But we could see Bitcoin here starting its new ETF. Now, this article was written last summer when Bitcoin was at about 30K. Now, with all of that anticipation of Bitcoin Spot ETFs, Bitcoin's now over 42,000. And so their initial thought was, well, if the price of gold can go up 346%, if Bitcoin also goes up that same percentage, it would go from 30K to 138,000. Now, if we're looking at this mark point at 42K, this number becomes more like 150K. Price of Bitcoin, 150K. So, roughly 350% from now, that's pretty good. But that's not the numbers that many have been talking about for Bitcoin over the, through this bull cycle over the next year and a half, let's say. They could go even higher, 200, 300, 400. We don't know, particularly with Bitcoin having this hard cap, coming into the halving, and with its limited amount on exchanges. That seems to be where this is going to go, because once all that OTC Bitcoin, right, that these exchanges have, that they're selling to the BlackRocks and the ARKs and the Fidelities, once that's gone, then there's not as much liquidity in Bitcoin on exchanges, which could cause a big price increase. So what am I looking at on the charts? Well, here's the overview chart on the daily, looking back to early February this year of 2023, right above me here. This was a golden cross that happened, and that was right around the 6th of February or so. After that golden cross, Bitcoin traded up, hit a high, and then traded down a bit, and then back up, and then had this sort of head and shoulders action, traded down, kind of chopped, and then took off. Well, we could see that happen again, and we're in the middle of that. We had another golden cross here that happened 29th of October. After that golden cross, what did Bitcoin do? Traded up, hit a high, didn't trade down as much though. Again, this is all with this thought of Bitcoin spot ETFs, right? They're going to be coming, they're going to be coming. So nobody was selling their Bitcoin there, so we didn't see that same kind of drop that we saw earlier here in February and March of 23. So what happened? Bitcoin trades up, and now I think we are in the middle of this head and shoulders. Got the shoulder, got the head, now we're in the second shoulder here. What could happen from here? We could see Bitcoin come down, Bitcoin chop a bit, and then take off. That takeoff up to 50K is a target into the Bitcoin halving. That's what we would have. After that, who knows, right? Who knows? But this temporary action we have here on the daily, it looks bad when you zoom in, but right now on the daily, that's not so bad. That Bitcoin's actually holding up pretty well. It's kind of a bearish engulfing candle on the daily that we see here, but we could see the sort of up and down action, and then maybe some little sell-off happens, choppiness, and then Bitcoin taking off. That is the type of trading we typically see, and that could be what Bitcoin does going forward. Again, if I zoom in and I look at like the 30-minute chart, it looks like, Bitcoin's just trading down. Look at this, down, down, down. And yeah, that doesn't look great, but Bitcoin's still holding above 42K. That is still support. Bitcoin hasn't touched that support line again yet. We still could see dips come down to it, but the Bitcoin still seems to be bought up at that point. So we haven't seen that real downward pressure yet for Bitcoin. It's just kind of been this slow and steady downward that we've seen. So that's where I am with Bitcoin. What do you guys think? Do you think this Bitcoin ETF was a mistake? It goes against Satoshi's vision and what cryptocurrency is all about. But are we also going to see a big influx over time of more and more money coming into Bitcoin as an investment vehicle, which over time is really going to help Bitcoin's price go up astronomically? Let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.